So this past weekend and a few days before that, I went to go visit my cousin who lives in New Jersey. He lives in a nice apartment. He has a really good view of New York. New York's just like New York City is right there. And we're like, oh boy, we're gonna go to New York. We're gonna do all these things. We're gonna eat all these foods. And guess what? We didn't do any of it. We just stayed inside and played video games the whole time, just like when we were kids.
I've actually heard that the best views of New York are from New Jersey.
Yeah, you could like see the whole skyline. It was very
Yeah.
beautiful. And via train, it was a 20-minute train ride to Manhattan, so we could have easily gone. It's just we turned into complete degenerates and just played video games nonstop, ordered food in, like barely left the apartment.
What a waste of a brilliant trip. That sucks,
Well,
dude.
I wouldn't, but like here's the thing, I wouldn't change a thing because
Yeah.
I mean,
You
growing
can go
up,
back, yeah.
whenever my cousin visits, that's what we ended up doing, right? Like that was how we kind of bonded and spent our time together. And this was my first time seeing him in about 2 years, and we just fell back on that old kinda
Did you bust out the N64?
thing we used to do. We didn't do N64. We did. Well, we'll talk about it later in the
Okay.
episode what we did play, but we were total degenerates about it. This is the cousin I discovered kind of MapleStory with. This is the cousin I discovered League of Legends with, which I dropped very promptly. But he went on, like I said, he went on to like Diamond 3 or something. He has over 1 full year of his life in League. But
So sad.
when I got there, he was just like, "Yeah, I'm done with League." He literally sold his account, so he's out.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like hard committed to never playing League again.
Dude, that's how you know League is trash, is because people have to do that to get out of it. That's crazy. I mean, that's like something like
It's like a drug, man.
like smoking your last cigarette, or no, like some people keep their last cigarette in a pack. Like,
Yeah, I don't know, man, but he has quit League before, but never like this. He's like totally his
He's
accounts are
out.
gone. His
Proud of
account that
him.
he has like tens of thousands of hours in is gone. So he actually sold his gaming PC too. And he got a PS5. He's actually one of the few people I know who switched from PC to console gaming because he just wanted a more casual experience.
I've seen that once.
So,
It's pretty rare
yeah.
though.
But hey,
And they
he's
came
doing
back.
well, and he's enjoying the PS5. He's enjoying not playing League of Legends for
Good.
multiple hours a day. So good for him.
Good for him. Got his life back.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get to see Manhattan someday.
Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Sam Admian. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And we are about a week away from the big Switch 2 blowout. And as such, it is time to say goodbye to our beloved Nintendo Switch. But not really, because there might be a Switch Direct this week. There's a rumor about that. And it's not really going to be gone. Like, even when the Switch 2 launches, I imagine for the first couple years, we're going to get a lot of cross-platform games between Switch and Switch 2.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, when this thing finally gets revealed, when the Switch 2 games get revealed, that's all anyone's going to be talking about. So I think right now is an appropriate time to do a sort of ode to the Nintendo Switch. Arguably one of the greatest consoles of all time. You could certainly make the argument that it is the greatest console of all time.
I did.
I
and
think
we'll continue to. I think if you are not counting PC handhelds, the Nintendo Switch is far and away the best console of all time.
Yeah, so let's just kind of reminisce about the Nintendo Switch, how we got them, our favorite games on this console. Yeah, I mean, I think I can go first. This story has been famously told, and I would argue maybe distorted quite a bit on this podcast about how I...
You hit that kid, right?
I didn't hit a
In the
kid,
face.
but I snatched a Nintendo Switch from the jaws of a youngin' at a Toys R Us. This was back when Toys R Us was still around.
Oh my god, that's right.
Which is crazy, right? Nintendo Switch came out in 2017. That sounds right. Which is now 8 years ago.
I was in college. I remember this night. the Switch came out, and I didn't expect the shortages. I kind of figured that was a thing of the past,
That's crazy, man.
which is
I knew.
yeah,
I just
huge
knew.
miss from me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was working on the parser for my for computer science class for Reezer. I don't know if you
Oh
guys had to
gosh,
take that class.
yeah, I remember. I think I remember this exact assignment.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
finished it, and I was working on it with my roommate, and I looked at him and I said, "All right, now let's go find a Switch." And we drove to like every GameStop within an hour of
Oh
Morgantown. It
yeah.
took hours and hours, and we could not find one anywhere. And we went back and bought Breath of the Wild on my Wii U.
Oh no way, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because there was only one
See,
game worth like getting a Switch on launch day was kind of a fool's errand. Like you're
at
allowed to
that
do it,
point
but
in my life, I had mastered the art of pre-ordering consoles. So I'm
yeah,
absolutely that guy who will uh spam F5 on the website at like, 1 minute before this thing goes live to make sure I'm in.
I've never done
So
that.
I've never really missed a console launch for a console I was interested in. Uh I don't think ever, just because I turn into a very obsessive person when it comes to these things.
I think the only console I've gotten on launch day was a 3DS, and there was no. That's why I thought the Switch was going to be so easy to get, was because the 3DS was like the shelves were stacked, nobody wanted them.
Well, if you guys remember, like, this is Nintendo coming off the Wii U. There was no guarantees that this
Yeah,
thing would be a success.
I mean,
And
I was like
actually,
not going to buy one.
think I think this is a little before we started the podcast, but I was convinced this thing was going to be a failure. I thought like, oh, Nintendo Switch, what a dumb name, what a dumb gimmick. Like I didn't believe in this thing. And obviously when it came out, I was very quickly disproven, but like I was fully on board with the fact that like, oh, this thing's going to suck just like the Wii U.
Our first episode was a week or two after the Switch came out,
It was
because it was
very
Breath of
yeah,
the Wild. Yeah,
very
so
soon
yeah, I
after.
thought it was going to be a failure too. I mean, I remember when I knew the Switch was coming, I felt so burned by the Wii U because I bought the Wii U. Well, I got it for Christmas. I was a kid, But I got the Wii U thinking, "Oh, this is going to have 3D Mario. This is going to have Metroid. This is going to have Zelda." And then it never did get any of those.
It didn't
And
get any of those, and like especially from the context of the Wii, like yes, the Wii was a massive success, but at that point, like PlayStation and Xbox were doing really cool things. Well, PlayStation was doing cool things, Xbox was doing some cool things.
during the Wii,
Um,
that was the Xbox 360. It's cool.
well, I'm talking about like when the Wii U came out, we got PS4 and
Yeah,
Xbox
okay,
One,
yeah.
right?
Xbox One was a mess. Yeah.
And at that point, I was just like, okay, Nintendo really needs to kind of win me back because I didn't really like the direction things were going in the Wii. Like, I had my fun with the Wii, but like, I was like, okay, I don't want any more of this. And then Wii U seemed to be very gimmick based as well. I was like, okay, like maybe Nintendo's just
They're
not,
cooked. Yeah, they're
well,
washed.
not just cooked, but like maybe they're targeting a different audience now. Maybe I'm not part of that audience. But they absolutely came back swinging with the Switch. They fully engaged, I would argue, both their casual audience and their core audience. And they just delivered in ways I never would have predicted. So this thing came out, sold gangbusters. It's still, I think it's currently the second best-selling console of all time, like right behind the PS2. And it's poised to overtake it.
I don't think that's
That,
right. For home console, I think the DS still sold better than the Switch right now. I think it's like
okay,
154 million for the Switch, 156 million for the DS, and then
it's going to catch up.
the Sony numbers for the PS2 are dubious because a couple of times they've gotten passed, and then they're like, "Oh, we just found another 4 million PS2s we didn't know sold." So like, I kind of, not that I can like sit here and say the PS2 didn't sell well, but like, yeah, the Switch went crazy. It went insane, and even more importantly than how many consoles they sold, the attachment rate, the amount of software that a Nintendo Switch owner buys is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is true. Um, I mostly just used it. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I mostly use it for first parties, but I did get a good bit of indies on this thing too.
I pretty much only used it for first parties. I can't think of any. I bought Enter the Gungeon on it. There was a brief period of time where it was like if you wanted an indie portably, the Switch was a great place to buy it. But
Yeah,
pretty quickly, even indie games like Enter the Gungeon doesn't run well on the Switch. It never, at the higher
right.
levels.
Yeah, I
So
mean the
that was an
Switch
issue.
certainly like and throughout its life cycle, it was never a powerhouse, even when it came out,
Right.
and that never really stopped it Um, like obviously some games struggled to run on that thing, but Nintendo managed to work magic on that thing. Like look at Breath of the Wild,
Breath of
Tears of
the
the Kingdom,
Wild, right off the
how
rip.
something like that runs on a Switch. Granted, there's resolution kind of issues, but just the fact that all of that can run on this console is very impressive to me.
It has so many analogs to the Wii as well. Like you look at the Wii, and the Wii was when Nintendo said, hey, we're not going to do a bump in power, we're going to do something different, and they essentially released the GameCube again as something new, because the Wii and the GameCube have almost identical hardware.
Yeah.
And then the Wii U and the Switch don't have identical hardware, but power-wise, the Switch is maybe ever so slightly stronger than the Wii U. It's
Yeah.
not very much. It's really not a power upgrade at all over the Wii U. It was just that portability, that new
Right.
factor to everything.
Yeah, and which makes the Switch 2 stand out even more because this is a substantial power upgrade for Nintendo.
Right, so
which is
this will
not
be their
something
first one in over 10 years.
Right, it's not something they've been into lately. But I just kind of wanted to bring it back because I just remembered something. The launch of the Switch. Do you guys remember that commercial they aired when the Switch launched? It was very much targeted towards like
I remember the airport.
younger millennials.
Yeah.
It was like, no, do
Yeah.
you remember the rooftop party
Yeah, I
thing?
remember the rooftop
I
party.
was just
It
like,
was like young urban millennials.
Yeah.
What they were.
Can I say
And then at the time, it was almost a decade ago.
I sort
That
of
was
lived
an audience.
my first day with the Switch. I sort of lived that commercial. The day I bought the Switch.
you
was
went to
when-
a rooftop party with that thing?
No, but I did go to a party and like sit around and play the Switch with some people at the party.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
having those moments too early in the Switch's lifespan.
I was at a Halloween party. It was a Halloween party. It was when Mario Odyssey came out. You took me to Best Buy so I could use your Best Buy membership thing to get a huge discount on a Switch and a copy of
Really?
Mario
I don't remember
Odyssey.
this.
Yeah, and then I went to a Halloween party without you later that day and played
This was on
Mario Odyssey
Halloween,
with some
huh?
people. It wasn't on Halloween, but it was very close to
Okay,
Halloween.
around Halloween. That's
Yeah. It was a
interesting.
weekend close to Halloween. It was close enough to Halloween to use it as an excuse to put on a costume and get drunk.
But I just that commercial I think is really important because one, I just think it's kind of funny, but two, I think it really shows that Nintendo really gets their audience now because
Yeah.
it was not targeted towards little kids. And you think of little kids as the primary audience for Nintendo, and yes, they are. But Nintendo knows now that all these people who grew up on Nintendo, like they're their audience too.
Yeah, they're loyal.
So that Switch ad was very much targeted towards those people, and I think that's something I appreciate.
I mean, I mentioned the plane, but like playing your Switch on a plane was like a meme, for
Oh,
lack
yeah.
of a better word, for such a long time. And I don't know that I've ever done it, actually, now that I think about
Really?
it. I've played my
That's
Steam
crazy.
Deck on a plane. I don't know that I've ever played my Switch.
I've played my Switch on a plane, on a train, but here's the thing, right? Like you said that you almost always played in dock mode.
Yeah,
I'm
I
the
did.
opposite. I almost always played in portable mode, even before I had a Switch OLED.
Unless a game looks truly hideous on the big screen, I will typically play it. I'm just I'm of the opinion. I don't have an OLED Switch, so I'm of the opinion if I have a better screen to show to show the game on, I should give it the best chance it has to look good. And the best screen in my house is going to be my TV right now.
Yeah, I understand
it's
that.
that simple.
There's
really.
just always something so magical about Nintendo handheld gaming to me,
Yeah,
and the Switch definitely kept the spirit of that alive.
that's fair. There was, I mean, I played a lot of Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey handheld. One, I didn't have a good TV yet when those came out, but also it was still very early in the Switch's life, and it still felt just insane. I mean, do you guys remember what it felt like to have the biggest Zelda game ever on a handheld?
On a
that
handheld,
small?
yeah.
That
I couldn't believe it.
insane.
I did not play Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
You played on the Wii U?
No.
Oh, did you emulate it? Or did
Yeah, I
you
emulated it. I
Oh,
emulated
wow.
it like 2 years ago before Tonka came out.
I mean, honestly, that's probably the best way.
It's the
to
best way
play
to
it.
play it now.
Yeah.
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 For now, until we get
For now.
Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom remastered
60
deluxe
FPS, 4K HDR.
DLSS. Maybe they'll make Tears of the Kingdom fun.
Crazy! It's just crazy to me that we're gonna get those kind of annotations and like analyses for Switch games now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Digital Foundry looking at DLSS on Switch games, which That's just, that's wild. It's
Yeah,
a new world.
maybe. That's
Maybe.
still a maybe.
We still don't know.
Yeah.
But like that is something we'll probably see at this upcoming Direct, Nintendo's upscaling solution, if they have one, which they probably do. But okay, so we kind of went into a lot of directions, but I do want to focus in on the games because the game catalog for Nintendo Switch is pretty unrivaled, I would argue. It's
Can we try to
stupendous.
go like in order timeline wise through the games?
We can try.
We can try. I don't have like a list
But-
in front of me, but like obviously Breath of the Wild on day
So yeah,
one.
this thing launched with Breath of the Wild, and enough of it has been said about Breath of the Wild. Completely blew everyone's minds except for Mike.
Something brave and controversial. I think it's Nintendo Switch's best game. I think they peaked day one.
I don't think that's a too controversial of a take. But it is certainly one of the best games on the console. It is one of the best games of all time. And to launch with a game like that, that's just Switch 2 could never. I couldn't
there's no way.
There's no way. There's just no way.
No.
Like maybe Metroid Prime 4 would be like comparable, but like it would really have to be something special.
It would have to reinvent the first person shooter, which I don't think anyone thinks it's going to do.
But you can never count Nintendo out. I don't know.
That's true.
But yeah, Breath of the Wild came out, and I remember, aside from that, I was kind of really scrounging for launch games. Like, obviously, Breath of the Wild was so massive, it was like maybe 5 launch games at once.
Yeah, that and Snipperclips.
I was going to say Snipperclips was the other one I got, and it was
fun.
a cute little game. I enjoyed it. The puzzles were neat.
I played it with Jordan. He's been on the show before. Friend of the show, Jordan.
Yeah.
He brought that to Game Dev Club all the time, and we played it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Never bought it, but it is
the
fun.
other game I got, which was very gimmicky, was 1-2 Switch. I did get that.
You pretty much bought the whole launch lineup.
What else was in the launch lineup?
I don't think those are the only 3 I know.
Oh, exclusives, right? But there were other games, I'm pretty sure. There's no way there were only 3 games at launch.
I'll look it up. You talk about 1-2 Switch while I look it up.
So 1-2 Switch was very much a casual kind of party game, but like that's what I'm saying. Like the Switch delivered on the promise of appealing to casuals and core video game players. Because like I had a lot of fun playing 1-2 Switch with like my family and some of my friends who never really touched video games, but were fans of things like the Wii.
Okay. You had Just Dance 2017, Skylanders Imaginators, Super Bomberman R, I Am Setsuna, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove.
Really?
And Fast RMX. Yeah, I didn't know Shovel Knight was on there. I would have bought that probably. I love Shovel Knight.
That's interesting. Yeah. So Shovel Knight, I actually played on the Nintendo Switch for the first time. There were so many indie games that I played for the first time on Nintendo Switch.
Great place for it.
Yeah, so that's not really a strong launch lineup outside of, one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, monumental.
Yeah, so that really makes up for everything else. Like, I think if you can have a game of similar caliber to that at launch, your launch lineup can be complete dog water. Aside from that, you've earned it. But yes, so Breath of the Wild came out, set the world on fire, redefined what we thought an open world game could be. And then, 6-7 months later, Mario Odyssey comes out and is another kind of 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah, I really think that 2017 year, like, the Switch was good for its entire lifespan, but I genuinely don't think that it ever had another year like 2017. That was crazy.
Yeah, that launch year was just, it was unbelievable. Yeah, Mario and Zelda. New Mario, new Zelda. And they're both 10 out of 10 games. One can only hope. One can pray we get something like that
or do a 3D Mario.
In a week.
Had one since
we are very much. We are not due for a Zelda, but we are due for a Mario.
It sounds like our first podcast where we're like, the Switch is going to be the greatest thing ever, and it's going to do all this stuff, and just it's banger after banger. Oh, we didn't know, did we?
What do you mean?
We did not know that the Switch was only going to have like a couple bangers early, and then be bereft until Ultimate came out.
Yeah, which was late 2018.
I don't know if we have a timeline
again until Tears of the Kingdom.
No,
I wouldn't say
that's
that.
not what happened
fair.
at all. That's insane revisionist history.
The Switch actually had a decent
lineup.
clip
skipping
of
Luigi's
first-party
Mansion
releases.
3. You're skipping Monster Hunter
How could I
Rise, which was exclusive.
How could I forget about Gooigi?
Yeah.
Gooey.
No, the
I have
Switch had a
still
lot of
never
games.
played a Luigi's
I've never
Mansion
played a
game.
Luigi's Mansion game.
It's really good. Luigi's Mansion 3.
So Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, but like I don't know if we have like an order of games that came out, but I do kind of want to talk about some other games that I played for the first time on Switch that aren't Switch exclusives. I played Hollow Knight on the Switch in its entirety. That was my first time playing Hollow Knight.
Wow.
And
Insanely
so
good
like
game.
Hollow Knight is very much tied to the Switch in my mind.
That would have been 2018, I think.
Yeah,
Oh.
and again, it is Hollow Knight was
Oh,
one
I
of the
can't
greatest
share
video
this.
games I had ever played, and I had played it on Nintendo Switch, mostly handheld. But I did switch to my TV every now and then because Hollow Knight on an OLED is just
It's special. It's a really
amazing.
good looking game. Yeah.
Yeah. And Hades as well. I played Hades for the first time on Nintendo Switch. And Hades was really kind of my first introduction into roguelikes. I can't really think of another roguelike I played before Hades.
You played Hades before that card game?
Slay the Spire, yeah. Hades was my first.
Could not find Slay the Spire.
So yeah, and Slay the Spire is another game which I discovered on Switch. So the Switch very much was a portal into classic indies for me. Yeah, man, so many fond memories with that thing. Just like laying around playing on handheld mode, so good.
Like I'm looking at like the exclusive games for the Switch, and not a lot of them really stand out to me.
I mean,
Well, I think that might be a you thing though.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
like
2018, I guess. Nintendo specific, we had like
Kirby Star Allies
Kirby
was
Star
not
Allies,
Kirby Star Allies was not super well liked. I'll give them that. But then you
a
had Super
Mario
Smash
Tennis
Brothers.
game.
Yeah, that one's not great. Super Mario Party I liked. That's not a
I
I
liked it.
heard mixed things about Super Mario Party. Splatoon 2, I guess.
That was huge. I didn't care for it, but Splatoon was huge. That was a new
Splatoon's always
property on
been
the Wii
huge.
U that expanded on the Switch.
This was the
loved
expansion
Splatoon
too. I think this is the DLC. Because
Yeah,
Splatoon 2 had come out in
Splatoon-
2017.
Splatoon is one of those things I just don't get, but I feel like might be too old or something.
I guess we got the Pokemon Let's Go games, but no one really. I don't even want to talk about those games.
Nah,
Like, I don't think anyone
Pokemon
wants to
showing on the
talk about them.
Nintendo Switch has been nothing short of humiliating.
It's been bad. I don't think there's been a good Switch Pokemon game.
No,
other
there
than
hasn't.
maybe you could make an argument for Arceus, but
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So we talked about 2017, or at least the games we really care about in 2017. 2018 had the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which to me, as a massive Smash Bros. Fan, like that, like if that was the only game Nintendo put out that year, I would have been happy. I love that game. And
there was also a Monster Hunter
Smash
game that year.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
There was. Yeah.
Ultimate or Generations. Yeah.
Yeah. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. I actually just bought it the other day. I haven't played it yet, so I can't say anything about it. I skipped it because it's a 3DS port. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I can't emphasize enough, guys. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, like that. Do you guys remember the hype around that game? Every time a new character was revealed.
Oh my god!
And then the "Everyone Was Here" trailer just kind of blowing everything out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it. It was just when Solid Snake showed up on screen again, Sonic was there. It was just Sakurai pulled it off. He really made the ultimate Smash Brothers game.
It's the other contender for best Switch game, in my opinion. It's between Smash Ultimate and Breath of the Wild. I lean Breath of the Wild just because of the type of game I like to play. But if you're more of a multiplayer, if you have friends over more often than I do, I could absolutely see you leaning Smash Bros.
We also got a Xenoblade game that year.
When was Mario Kart?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was...
8 Deluxe was...
It's not on my list.
Why do I feel... No, it launched with it.
Title.
It launched with it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I remember.
Because I will say the Switch never got an original Mario Kart game.
No, it didn't. April 28th. It didn't launch with it. It came a month later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But here's the thing. So it is a Wii U game, technically, but we got, 40 new maps or something crazy like that?
It doubled them, yeah.
On Switch.
There's 96 total tracks, I think, and
Yeah.
48 of them were new on Switch.
Which, again, looking ahead a little bit, more than likely we're going to see a new Mario Kart revealed at the game showcase.
And it'll be
That
the
game,
first in like 10 years.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it's gonna be great. It has a tall order to compete with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Even just from a content perspective, why would I fire up new Mario Kart when it's going to have probably 36 tracks or something like that, when I could fire up old Mario Kart and have 96?
We mentioned it before, but I think Nintendo really needs to differentiate this new Mario Kart somehow. And I don't know how
Nintendo
they're
needs
gonna
to
do it.
differentiate a lot of things because previously with the Switch, Nintendo could kind of just throw indies on it and people
Yeah.
would buy it because portable indies.
But now,
But now we're in a Steam Deck world where you can play it both on the Steam Deck and on your PC and you have cross save.
yeah,
It doesn't matter.
there's only a few million Steam Decks out there, so I still don't
Yeah.
know how
It's still
much
competition.
it is, but I don't know that Nintendo's sweating it too much yet. But there might be a portable Xbox coming, so that's going to matter.
Yeah, it's gonna be so rough for Nintendo and the Switch 2 to make it different, especially looking at, like, their first party offerings and seeing that every year they might have, like maybe a couple games that look really interesting, and then the rest are, like I don't know, Disney some festival, you
No,
know,
okay, so
like
speaking of indies, let's talk about 2019. Is there any other 2018 thoughts you guys have?
that's a bunch of remasters and remixes.
No, I
When,
think
We got, like
I'm
2019?
good on 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
2019, very early, you have Cadence of Hyrule, which is
Yeah.
not the best game I've ever played, but probably the most interesting thing Nintendo's ever done with Zelda. They gave it to an indie studio.
Yeah, which is, like,
Here's the
really out of left field there.
Yeah. And then Link's Awakening right after that, which was also excellent from what
Yeah.
I've heard. I played the original, so I didn't play the remake.
I guess we got a Fire Emblem game if you're into Fire Emblems, but again,
A very
I don't
well-liked
know.
Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, I'm not really big into any Nintendo properties. I really don't have a strong attachment to anything but Zelda.
And then
I will
Luigi's Mansion
say,
3 was
Fire
amazing.
Emblem Three Houses was
Yeah.
incredible. It was like a combination of Fire Emblem and Persona, and I was all
got-
about it.
Yeah.
We got a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, which I don't know. I didn't realize that was a Switch exclusive.
Yeah, it was.
We got Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Which I actually liked Sword and Shield quite a bit.
It was fine.
I didn't even want to play
It was worse than the worst. It was worse than the worst ROM hack I've ever played. But it's
Ring Fit
still-
Adventure. I guess Super Mario Maker 2 came
Dude,
out.
Ring Fit
Super
was
Mario
actually.
Maker-
Did either of you play Ring Fit?
Ring Fit was very meaningful to me. Ring Fit.
Yeah.
I mean, I
You
go
did. I remember you talking
I
about
go to the real gym 4 days a week now, but Ring Fit was how I got started on a fitness journey at a time when I really needed it. I had put on no, I didn't get it in 2019. I got it well into COVID.
Mm.
So I was pretty late to
Yeah.
the Ring Fit party, but I got Ring Fit at a time when I was like, I'd put on a ton of COVID weight and everything, and I needed to start working out. And I don't know that Ring Fit is gonna like get you in shape, but it certainly like got me in better shape and got me the confidence I needed to go to the gym and actually
We got
get in shape.
a Yoshi's game, I guess. and
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Yoshi's
say
Crafted
it.
World wasn't that good. That's
I'm
something.
gonna say it. We haven't had a good Yoshi game since the SNES.
No,
I'm
that's
gonna say
you're
it.
you're objectively wrong. Yoshi's Woolly World is incredible.
Oh, I forgot about Woolly World. Never mind.
Yeah,
I
Yoshi's
actually
Woolly
forgot
World.
Woolly World existed.
Woolly World was on the Wii U.
I
and
actually did
it's-
enjoy. I actually did enjoy the aesthetic of Woolly World. I apologize. There's only been 2 good Yoshi games,
Yeah,
And
and they were about 2 decades apart.
another big game, Mario Maker 2 in 2019.
Super Mario Maker 2 was so good, and I think probably Nintendo's best work as far as releasing updates to a game, because all the Mario Maker 2 updates were actually meaningful. Like, especially the
Yeah.
one where you could make worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was I don't know that creators agree with this, but as a person who only played levels, I saw it as a huge upgrade over the original. I think from a creator's perspective, using the Switch, they really missed the Wii U gamepad for creating
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
I'm suspecting an early Mario Maker 3 on the Switch 2. This is a bold prediction. An early Mario Maker 3
3D Mario
with
Maker.
mouse. But with mouse support. Using
Hmm.
the Joy-Con as a mouse so that you can create quickly. But yeah, 2019 was a bit of an off year, I guess. There weren't any Like Luigi's Mansion 3, I guess, is your anchor game this year, or Astral Chain. Astral Chain they wanted to be bigger
I
than it
did
was. That
play
was a
Astral
platform
Chain,
game.
and I just could not get into it.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like, hey, another new Super Mario Bros. Game, which at this point, no, it was New Super Mario Bros. U, which I think was a remaster, right?
It was a remake of
Released on
You,
Switch.
yeah.
Remake of
Or
U.
remaster, yeah.
The Legend of Zelda
Re-release.
The Legend of Zelda that year, also a remake.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Link's Awakening, though. That was my first time
It
playing
is a
that game.
fantastic game.
It's a
Amazing.
really
I
brilliant game.
really liked the original. I never got around to playing the remake. I should.
I'm in the same spot.
But other than that, I mean, you got a new Tetris game, but it was novel, but it doesn't have any staying power.
But
2020
2020
is when
though.
the juggernaut. Yeah.
2020,
Animal
Animal
Crossing.
Crossing New Horizons, the second best-selling game on the Nintendo Switch.
It really just took over the world because everyone
And
was
it
inside.
sucks.
This was in
Yeah.
peak COVID, and everyone was playing Animal Crossing.
We got
It's peak
this year.
let me talk about Animal Crossing for a minute, because Animal Crossing
Yeah.
New Horizons was like peak Nintendo Switch effect, because it was like prettier graphics than you're used to, and it's handheld, and COVID and everything. But this is by far the worst Animal Crossing game. It released
everyone I
completely
knew
unfinished, and it
bought
never
and
really got
bounced
better.
it. Yeah.
It's so interesting because I know you guys feel that way, but this was my only Animal Crossing game that I ever played, so I really enjoyed it. I just didn't know what I was missing.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say Animal Crossing is one of those franchises where like there's like 2 or 3 really good games. Like the original Animal Crossing is great.
Wild
Wild
World is
World's
great,
fantastic,
and New Leaf.
and New Leaf's fantastic, but everything else,
Okay,
like
but
there
everything
hasn't
else
been.
is just City Folk and
Yeah,
New Horizons. So there's
Yeah.
2 stinkers and 3
like City
pretty good
Folk,
ones.
I really liked, but that's because I didn't play Wild World.
Yeah, City Folk was
just
essentially
Wild
just a
World.
Wii port of Wild World.
Yeah, it was just a Wii port, which was fine, I
Yeah.
guess.
It was fine
But
if you
the
didn't
original
play.
Animal
Yeah.
Crossing, it feels like Animal Crossing has been a franchise that they've kind of diluted over the years.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the villagers used to be, I used to hate villagers, and now I just don't even have any feelings towards them other than aesthetics,
Yeah.
which sucks. It sucks so bad that I can't go talk to my friend like Stuffy or whatever.
Yeah, they
about
used
that
to be characters.
stupid
They used to
anteater,
have
you know?
feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go and complain about that stupid anteater, you know? He
Yeah.
keeps calling me bad names. But it made me feel catty, you know? I liked feeling catty talking about the snooty villagers.
Yeah.
You can't give that personification anymore because they don't have that
No, they don't.
that
Yeah, there's no
connection.
character to it. They're just like little action figures
What
that
do you
wander around.
think? Because, like, I don't know. Nintendo's going to look at the sales for this game and be like, all right, we just need to keep going in this direction.
No,
But
yeah,
it
I
sounds
think the
like this
franchise is
direction is
hooked.
not something that,
Yeah,
like,
there's a-
long-term fans are into.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest buyers of Animal Crossing's New Horizons were people that were just into the aesthetic and nothing past that.
The
And
other problem.
we're just left behind as old fans because we are a small audience.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, Animal Crossing does not historically sell that well.
It's like saying Monster Hunter fans who've been playing since the PS2, which are now basically a small minority,
Yeah, less than 10%.
are more valuable than the people that have just gotten on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Unfortunately,
gotta appease those people first. It sucks being an old head, but you gotta appease the new people before you appease the old heads.
But Monster Hunter isn't an objective downgrade, and Animal Crossing New
Yeah.
Horizons is. It added
Like,
stuff
they're
that people
doing it
wanted.
right.
Terraforming is good, and being able to like decorate outside. Those are good additions, but they don't make up for the fact that once you've decorated your town, there's nothing to do in New Horizons.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. I played Animal Crossing on the GameCube every day for over a year, probably. Same with Wild World. There was
And
so
every
much to
time
do.
you talk to a villager, you got something different, you know?
Yeah. But this is, I think, the only, this and Pokemon are the only like huge misses on the Switch, in my opinion.
I disagree because this year we also got Paper Mario: The Origami King.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Paper Mario had been on a downturn for so long.
So, Paper Mario the Origami King, I have to comment on this because I did buy this because I was hopeful that this was kind of a return to form. And
It's fine.
I do hear it's good. But, like, I played it for a couple hours and I was just like, I'm out. I can't do this. This is not for me. So
it sucks being someone who enjoyed the 1,000-Year Door.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now
And
I can
and
relate
Super
to you
Paper
guys,
Mario
right?
was
Like I'm
fantastic, too.
right there with you. Like I'm part of the old heads for Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Super Paper Mario was really good, too.
I agree.
They just completely forgot what made it good.
yeah, I don't
They just made the franchise worse for no reason.
so
Because Super was still a good game.
I was super stoked when they released Thousand Year Door Remake, and I hope it did well enough to convince Nintendo that like, hey, there's still a
There's a
massive
market.
audience for like this style of Paper Mario game.
It's because Miyamoto wanted to differentiate Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi.
And the new Mario and Luigi game was apparently like buns.
Yeah, so I
Brothership.
think they should just make Paper Mario great, you know?
Make Paper Mario great. Yeah.
Make
Again.
Paper Mario great. Like, come on, again, yeah. They're like, Thousand Year Door is such a high point that formula worked. Everything felt good.
Yeah.
We also got Pikmin 3.
Yeah, we got the
We
remake
got
of
Pikmin 3.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe.
There's nothing else really this year I want to
I
jumps
Pikmin
out
3
to me.
Deluxe I
Mystery
played.
Dungeon.
and
Yeah, Mystery
enjoyed.
Dungeon Deluxe also came out this year, and I liked that. That was a nice little remake of a game that I played as a kid.
Super Mario 3D All-Stars I think is a huge miss. I just think it was a super lazy way to release those games.
You got a Xenoblade game again.
And it was time. Yeah. Xenoblade
And
Chronicles
all
time.
the Xenoblade fans rejoiced and then got really annoying when I said I've never played it.
So really, the only big game this year, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity also came out 2020, but I don't know if I'd call it
whatever.
big. The big game this year was Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it
and
was.
that's interesting.
I got us a controversial clip if I say the Xenoblade franchise is bad and overrated. If I say
no.
that,
We
if
lost
I
him.
say anything bad about Xenoblade,
there,
we will
Mike?
have interactions.
You good?
Say your
Okay.
clip again. We didn't get to hear it.
Oh, if I say anything negative about Xenoblade, I know these people will come out of the woodwork.
I'll
to
say it.
badmouth
Xenoblade's
us.
trash. I played
It's-
40.
yeah, you
Well,
played like
gotta say it.
I played
it's
20
not a good
hours,
look
I think,
when
of Xenoblade 2.
I think I shared in the Discord, right? That fan was like emailing reviewers telling them how to review
Yes.
the
Oh
Not
my
a
God.
good
Xenoblade
look.
Chronicles X. I was like, dude,
They're
you couldn't be more
Xenoblade
cringe.
fans are some of the most maniacal people. It's like, come on, it's just a game. It's just a game franchise. You don't have to go around emailing reviewers how to review it. It's not gonna personally like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but if your entire worldview revolves around if your favorite game franchise gets favorable reviews, 1, I'm very sorry. 2, stop it. It's just gonna make you sad. I was a Mass Effect fan. Please.
Me with
Please
Monster
don't
Hunter.
do it. Don't do it. You're just gonna get disappointed.
Yeah.
The newest game's gonna come out and you're gonna see that everyone's clowning on it and you're just gonna be depressed. Don't do it. It's a trap.
Just like better franchises, like
Just
Monster
like
Hunter.
don't even like franchises. Don't even do it. No brand loyalty.
All right,
Don't do it.
moving on to 2021. Got some bangers in here.
Bowser's Fury right off the
Bowser's Fury. I was
I
going to
love that
highlight for
game.
me Metroid Dread. What a
Oh
game!
my
I
God,
forgot.
yeah.
Such a good game.
You actually got a Pokemon Snap game too, right?
Yeah, new Pokemon Snap. I didn't play it. I didn't
play it either. but
Pokemon
I
Snap
didn't
was
either.
one of those, like in high school, I wanted it to come back really bad. I thought the Wii U was the perfect opportunity, and then they never did it. And then by the time they finally released it, it's like, I didn't care anymore.
You got a Mario Party game as well.
Yeah, Superstars. How was that one, Ahmed?
Really
You
good.
probably,
Mario Party
yeah.
Superstars.
I heard
Because Superstars was the one that kind of remixed old mini games, old maps, and was kind of like
Yeah.
a blast to the past type game. And it was a ton of fun. I think this is my most played Mario Party game on the Nintendo Switch. Out of
And
this
this
is
is
3, I think,
Skyward
were there.
Sword remastered.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't think that one hit anywhere. Skyward Sword wasn't exactly the most popular Zelda game anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of you got the Diamond and Pearl remasters, which I heard were
Nah,
People hated them.
Also
I
kinda
thought they
bad.
looked fine.
yeah.
Yeah. But like I
It's
said,
just-
Pokemon has no good games on the Switch. They
Yeah,
came
we're
close.
just in the doldrums of Pokemon right now.
well, would you say that Arceus is good?
I would say
I could say there's an argument.
Yeah, it's
for
the
it to be
closest to
good.
good they've done in a very long time.
I wouldn't know
but I
because
didn't finish
I
it.
actually haven't played Arceus.
You haven't played it.
I didn't play Arceus.
It's the
Like,
one
I
to
could say there's
play.
an argument based on what I've seen.
It's better
like-
than Scarlet and Violet. It's weird. It's a better implementation of what it tries to do than Scarlet and Violet, but I think Scarlet and Violet try to do something more interesting and more ambitious. So it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to choose for me which one of those is better. But neither of them run well enough for me to consider them acceptable Switch games.
But just
Yeah.
quick pause here. Like we're like about halfway through this list, and I just want to point out every year we have some big hitter, and you can't say the same about a lot of other first party providers. So
No.
I really think Nintendo, they delivered way more than they fumbled with the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we missed. Are we in 2021
Yeah.
still, or
Yeah.
okay? Monster Hunter Rise came out in 2021. I did
Oh,
not play this
really?
on the
In
Switch, but it
2021.
was
Okay.
originally
It's not on my list. Yeah.
no, because it's not exclusive anymore. So I think the
Yeah.
lists are omitting it. But it was originally a Switch exclusive, and
I heard Rise was a lot less popular than Worlds was.
not a
Purely
lot
because
less. It
Switch
was like
exclusive.
18 million to World's 25 million or something. Like
Yeah,
it was
that's
less, but it was also originally exclusive to one console, and
Yeah.
it runs at 30 frames per second. But it's also like one of the prettiest games on the Nintendo Switch, and it's like a full Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
It's a little faster, it's a little less exploratory, I guess. But if you liked Monster Hunter World, if you like Monster Hunter Wilds, you would like Monster Hunter Rise. It's a fun full Monster Hunter game.
Yeah. So
And
2021
it's
overall, I
Yeah.
would call a very good year.
yeah.
2022, new Fire Emblem game. Oh no, this is the Warriors game. Never mind. Warriors,
Yeah.
which is just fine. But
Kirby and the
Bayonetta,
Forgotten
Bayonetta
Land,
3,
though.
and
Kirby.
Kirby
Bayonetta
was
3
good. Kirby
Bayonetta
was
3
good.
sucks. Bayonetta 3 is awful. Like
I feel like that's.
I don't know if I
so
haven't
many
played it,
clips
so
where
I don't
people are
know.
just gonna
I don't have an
strangle
opinion.
us.
But like,
I was somebody who was really excited for this game. I really loved Devil May Cry 5. I love the whole Devil May Cry franchise except for 2. I played through them all. I loved Bayonetta 1 and 2 despite their like weird writing and everything. But Bayonetta 3 is just a complete miss for me. The writing is
Are
so
we-
bad as to be detrimental. There's you have to play as another character that's just not very fun to play. And then there's like an entire second gameplay style in Bayonetta 3 that's not fun at all. And I've like
Are
tried to go back to it and give it another chance, and I straight up like couldn't get through the first level because I just didn't like it.
are we just kicking the hornet's nest of Nintendo's fans here?
No, Bayonetta 3 is not
feel
liked.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 3
I
is not
feel
well
like
liked.
we're gonna have by the end of this episode, we're gonna end up kicking a hornet's nest, and we're just gonna get people mad.
Bayonetta
I mean, we're
historically-
celebrating the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Overall, I'm like very pro Nintendo Switch. I just
Yeah,
am
I think the
anti-Bayonetta.
Nintendo Switch is a great console.
Let's talk about another Kirby and the Forgotten
Yeah.
Land.
I love that
Amazing.
game.
I did
Love-
not play that game.
Very good.
I haven't finished it. I didn't buy it because I was seeing this girl at the time who had it, and she brought it over, and we played through like 3/4 of it or something. And then I was like, oh, if I buy it now, I have to replay the whole thing.
Yeah, that's not worth. But it was
Yeah.
a fun little game. I enjoyed it. And
was.
Kirby's first sort of foray into 3D, and it was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine we have another one of those coming soonish too.
Yeah.
Kirby's just a pretty
This is-
consistent franchise.
And then
The year we got
two Pokemon
Pokemon.
games, Arceus,
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet, which
yeah,
and
but-
Arceus was the better of the three, I guess.
yeah,
Arceus was an exciting new
heard-
direction for Pokemon at a time where they really needed new direction.
When there was a lot of hype rolling from Arceus into Scarlet and Violet, and then Scarlet and Violet just kind of
yeah, whimpered. Yeah,
just whimpered. Yeah. Came out like a
well, I
wet
mean, we
fart.
say whimpered,
Like,
but it was like the
that was the
best-selling
best-selling Pokemon game.
Pokemon game of all
no,
time.
yeah.
But it's
everyone
bad.
who had been
That's the
playing
Switch
it,
thing. Like
like,
these games
it's
keep.
bad.
It's the same with Animal Crossing. Most franchises that released on the Switch got their best-selling entry because people bought the Switch, and Switch owners bought games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crazy.
they
You
did.
got Splatoon 3, which I've heard
Very good
things about.
Nintendo Switch Sports, Mario Strikers
Love
Battle
that.
League.
Well, hold up. I gotta Nintendo
You-
Switch
you gotta
Sports.
talk sports.
Love that game.
Really?
Played it
Okay.
a lot with friends and family. I just think the sports selection, they could have added more, and I don't think that it sold very well because there were plans to add a lot more sports, but they only added like one or two. I think they added golf, and then they stopped supporting it.
The
But
Northern Lion streams were very popular.
oh yeah,
I
he did
remember
that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun game. Kind of a throwback to the Wii Sports days.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Mario Strikers was also pretty good from what I heard. It was a very return to form. The GameCube one was very popular, I think.
I never
I-
played
I-
Mario Strikers, so I don't know.
Me neither. But I know some people that really liked it.
But overall, I think this was maybe a weaker year than the previous year, but a pretty solid year for the Nintendo Switch.
If Bayonetta 3 had been the banger it should have been, this would have been a really strong year. It just... Bayonetta 3 really shot him in the foot.
2023.
We forgot about Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I mean, what do we have to say about that? None of us played it.
I
mean, it reviewed really well, right?
Game.
The Xenoblade games all review very well.
They all review really well. They have a very rabid fan base. But
if you play through their 40-hour tutorial, I hear that the combat gets really good. But straight up, like,
I hear the game gets great.
They don't even let you play with any of the fun mechanics for the first 10 or 20 hours of the game. I played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I bought into the hype. And I didn't have any money, so it was the game I was stuck with.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I got very far into it. The story was fine. The gameplay was not. The gameplay was extraordinarily boring. And the voice acting was confusingly Scottish. For some reason.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing trailers for that. I was just like, this is strange. I kind of wanted, if I ever played it, I would just do it in Japanese, but...
Yeah.
So anyways,
2023.
Did Advance Wars 1+2 actually come out in 2023?
I think a remaster.
That game got delayed.
I mean,
ever.
Well, we got to talk about the big one, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which
such a good
colossal launch.
Yeah.
Such a good game.
They just they did it again. They did Breath of the Wild again.
Yeah. They didn't do it again. In
the sense that it was a revolutionary thing, but they made it
literally the same game again. Yes,
but it was also it just felt like playing more Breath of the Wild, which is what I think a lot of people wanted.
I wanted Breath of the Wild, but it didn't feel like emphasis on its world.
That's my problem with it. Is it didn't feel like more to me. It felt like again. It didn't feel like there was very little more to it.
I'm with you, Mike. I also loved it, but I also understand your perspective, Connor, because it is literally the same map.
It's the same map.
I liked its creative uses of physics. Like that was the most fun element of this.
But you had to do that yourself. There were very, very few times the game asked you to do it.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with it. I think if it had better utilized its own mechanics, even my argument about the world would be kind of meaningless.
Listen, I didn't have to put walls on a cart like an ancient siege engine to go after a Talus.
Yeah.
I could just walk up to it and hit it. But I didn't care. I was going up against a battle Talus, and I wanted to be armored.
Yeah.
So I rolled up to it with a wagon and enough walls to smite it.
The things people were able to do in this game were very impressive. Like you see it on social media, the people building like mechs and stuff, and I was just like, that's really creative. And one day,
have some creativity.
I'll finish this game.
Maybe I don't know.
So good.
And experience that ending everyone says is
amazing.
My
god, I forgot you haven't even fought Ganondorf. That's crazy. That's a good part of the game. That was extremely good. It
was very good.
But
Pikmin
4? Also
Pikmin 4 is amazing. Oh my god, that game is so fun. I've actually been thinking about replaying
it.
I love Pikmin 4.
We got 2 remasters as well.
Metroid Prime, banger. Complete banger.
And Super Mario
RPG, banger. And Super Mario Wonder. What a year. Wow.
Yeah, Super Mario Wonder. Yeah, this was an insane... Yeah. This was all the COVID games finally coming out. The stuff that we weren't getting in 2023
was an extremely strong year for this.
We're kind of glossing over Fire Emblem Engage, F-Zero 99.
Yeah, new Fire Emblem game too.
I did not play Mario 35 and Tetris 99 as well.
Yeah,
the 99
games. That's a new thing Nintendo started, like Battle Royale.
Kirby's Return to Dreamland, some fitness games.
Yeah.
Like we can't call it all.
2023 was a banger year, I think.
Yeah, it was a good year
for the Switch.
Very good
banger year for the Switch.
All right. We're almost to the end here. 2024. What stood out here? Okay, I got to shout out Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Not a new game. It's a remake, but love to see it nonetheless.
The new Princess Peach game.
Super Mario Party Jamboree. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was pretty fun. Better than
Mario
Tears
Party
of the Kingdom,
Jamboree is great.
One remaster.
I still play Jamboree all the time with my family. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Brothership was kind of meh, I think.
Do you play it?
I didn't play it.
Okay,
That's just kind of what I heard.
I was keeping an eye on reviews and was not terribly interested.
Yeah, so I think, is there anything else really that stands out in 2024? It was kind of a kind of a
That was
low-key
kind
year.
of slow year,
It was a
yeah.
dusty year for my
But at
Switch.
this
Yeah.
point, they're just gearing up for Switch 2.
Yeah.
So
So something about what we just did though, I think really misses some of the magic of the Nintendo Switch, which is that it got a lot of Wii U ports. It got a lot of it got a pretty substantial Super NES, NES,
I wanted to
N64
bring that up.
library.
So those those emulators, I spent so much time on those playing old games, and I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah. And like they added multiplayer functionality to a lot of these games too,
Yeah.
like online multiplayer functionality, and it was just great to see cuz for old heads like me, it was so good revisiting the Nintendo 64 and playing some of these games I played growing up. Um, so love that addition, and I hope to see that continue into Switch 2. I hope to see a GameCube um, emulation console
Yeah.
show
I
up on that thing.
really, really hope we get that. Because then maybe we could get a good Animal Crossing portably. We could get
We can get
Super
a
Mario
lot of things.
Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine is just so good.
Mario Sunshine. I don't know if they'll ever put Smash on it, but one can dream, right?
But not even, it wasn't just Nintendo putting their old games on this thing too. You got every Mega Man game got ported to this. Every Castlevania got ported to the Switch. Konami supported it a lot. You got every Devil May Cry pre-5, I think. I don't know if you got Devil May Cry 4 or not. But you got 1 through 3. You got the HD collection.
A lot of people put their games on this thing.
The Nintendo Switch was a really good... If I was somebody who was getting my first console, the Nintendo Switch is such a good intro to gaming because you have such a massive breadth. You had the Miracle ports. You had the Doom 2016. And did Doom Eternal come to the Switch? I think it did.
Doom
Did it?
2016 definitely did.
Doom 2016 definitely did. You got a couple of Miracle ports. You got Witcher 3.
Yeah, you did get Witcher 3. Wow, I forgot about that.
I am a PC gamer. I have like a, really, really strong PC. But if I was just gonna buy one console, Nintendo Switch is an extremely compelling choice.
And just imagine, right? Like we grew up on N64 and GameCube. Imagine the kids growing up on Nintendo Switch. What a bounty they have. What a rich bounty of games they have.
The school lunchrooms that you can play Smash Bros on your portable Switch propped up during lunch. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I did this with Rocket League. That was one. I think I actually did buy Rocket League a second time so I could play it on my Switch. I don't think I waited for it to go free to play. I bought Rocket League so I could play it in class in college.
Yeah. No, I
love me some Rocket League.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that aspect up. Like the support this thing got from everyone. It was great to see. And going into Switch 2, that's only going to increase because not only will people keep porting older games to this thing is going to get a deluge of Xbox games, and this thing is going to get modern games on it now because it definitely has the hardware to support modern titles.
Yeah.
So the library on the Switch 2 is going to be gargantuan in a way that will probably even dwarf Switch 1.
And all this is going to be backwards compatible.
Yeah, that too. So, yeah, man, Nintendo Switch, fantastic console. So many games to play. Even if you're not a Nintendo fan, there's so many games to play. Indies, third parties, Nintendo first parties. So, and I will say, it is the only kind of mainline console. Well, that's not true. I did get a PS5 Pro, but like, I got another Nintendo Switch, right? I got a Nintendo Switch OLED. And that thing is a fantastic piece of hardware. Like that screen is just so gorgeous.
This is the first time I've been able to resist the thrall. I had a Game Boy Advance and then a Game Boy Advance SP. I had a Nintendo DS, a DS Lite, and a DSi. I had a launch day Nintendo 3DS, a new 3DS XL, and then eventually I traded that for a normal size new 3DS when they came to America. And I never bit on the OLED. I think it's because a lot of those others had exclusive games. Like the DSi, I think, had exclusive games. The new 3DS had exclusive games. The Switch OLED was always very tempting, and I still look at like Facebook Marketplace to see if I can get one cheap sometime. Yeah. But where I play docked so much, I just never bit.
Yeah, and I really like it, and I think it is quite the shame that we're likely not getting an OLED Switch 2 at launch, and they'll probably sell it to us a year or two later for full price.
Yeah.
But
It's kind
what
of a
can you
weird
do?
landmark for our show too, since we started with the Nintendo Switch.
We did start with a Nintendo Switch.
And probably 30% of our episodes are about the Nintendo Switch Pro.
Yeah, right. Like we've been talking about the Switch 2 for years. And it's crazy that we're finally here. And it's even crazier that when we finally get there, I won't be here.
Yeah.
So
You'll probably...
I'll cut
There's
in
a good
something.
chance you're the only one of us that gets one of these at launch, though.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like you're probably not going to, Mike, and I think there's a good chance I don't either. It really depends on the game lineup for me.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to show here in a week, and I can't be more excited for that. It's nothing quite like a Nintendo launch. All right, any final thoughts on the Nintendo Switch? Been there since day one of our show. Now it's time to say goodbye. All right. Rest in peace, Nintendo Switch.
Rest in peace, Nintendo
You're a good
Switch.
Not that
handle.
you're not going anywhere, but
Well,
no one's going to talk about you anymore.
I'm going to stop brushing the dust off of it for pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what we're playing. I have a lot to talk about. And I do want to talk about what I play with my cousin. But before I do that, I want to talk about what I played after I got back. So I did start Assassin's Creed Shadows.
How is it?
I'm about 3.5 hours in.
Oh, so you don't really know yet?
I don't really know yet, but I'm really digging this game. I really think this is a massive return to form for Assassin's Creed. I wasn't sure about that for the first couple hours, because unfortunately, this game is very front-loaded with exposition and cutscenes. And you really have to get through all of that to get to the actual game when they like turn you loose in the world.
They keep doing that. Even Monster Hunter did it. Like,
unfortunately, I think that will turn off a lot of like more casual people to this game. Which I don't really know why they did that, right? Like, honestly, right now, I'm sure there's good reason, because this is like an 80+ hour massive RPG. I'm not really even sure why they did the two protagonists. I think they're both really cool, but you start the game.
Wasn't it to juxtapose or juxtapose?
Yeah.
Yeah, juxtapose. I can't word right now. Between the stealthy shinobi, and the big bulky samurai.
And that's the idea, right? But here's the thing, right? So I've over 3.5 hours in. I'm over 3.5 hours into this game. You play as Yasuke for the first maybe 20 minutes, and everything else has been Naoe. And I've not even been given the option to switch back yet.
That's got to be just an early game thing.
Yeah. I think I've heard that a lot of people really like the two characters and how they stand apart from each other.
Okay, yeah, I do get that, because like at the beginning when you play as Yasuke, you just feel so powerful, right? Like when you clash swords with like other samurai, he's just so much bigger and stronger than them that you literally send them like flying through walls, and it feels amazing, right? And that's contrasted with Naoe, who is basically just a ninja. She's the assassin, right? I don't know if Yasuke becomes an assassin later in the story. I have no idea, but she becomes an assassin pretty much right away, and she is the truest iteration of an assassin this series has had in a long, long time. Because ever since this series switched to the more RPG-focused games, the stealth has really taken a back seat. Not in this game.
Really?
So when you're Naoe, and I had this experience yesterday where I was like sneaking around in a castle, and it felt amazing. Where you really have to use stealth in this game as her. You actually stick to the shadows, right? Like you can actually stay in shadows and extinguish sources of light to have more like free area to move around in without enemies seeing you. So that's a new mechanic in this game where you have to actually actively stick to the shadows and create shadows to stay hidden. You can go prone. She can go prone and crawl around like Solid Snake, which that's again,
that's sick,
that's new for Assassin's Creed.
Is this on top of RPG elements, or is this instead?
This is on top of our RPG elements. But what I really like about Naoe so far is that, unlike Yasuke, you can like with Yasuke, you can just like walk up to a group of 10 enemies and just mow them all down. If you do that with Naoe, you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Her blows are very weak, right? And you could, like, if you're really good at the game and you have a lot of patience, you could pick at them and like slowly chip away at their health. But when you get seen, you run, right? You run and hide and
Yeah.
stay hidden again. And as I was running through this castle, right, like someone saw me, I jumped through a crack in the wall, dove onto the ground, went prone, and crawled under the floor of this castle to remain hidden. And it all felt organic, right? Like it was not a scripted scene or anything. It was all something that, like, I just sort of did. And it felt amazing. I was just like, this is a feeling Assassin's Creed has not given me in like over a decade. Where actually not even ever,
I
because
would
I
say
don't think
never,
it
yeah,
never,
because
right? Like, because
it never
Assassin's
fully
Creed,
committed to the
it
stealth.
never
You could
fully
always
committed to the
fight your
stealth.
way.
Yeah, but in this game, it finally fully commits to the stealth as Naoe, and
You're
you,
selling me.
it's great. Yeah, it feels amazing to play as her, and she's so nimble and quick, and the parkour is really good too. She's just so fast, man. Like even like when she runs, she's so quick. Um, and you have like these throwing knives you can use to either attack enemies at range, or what I like to do, you have a throwing knife and you see that you need to go like over there to the other side of the courtyard, and it's the middle of the night, but there's this massive lamp like illuminating everything. You could throw your knife at the lamp and to break it, to extinguish the light,
Yeah.
and
That's
create more
cool.
shadow. Yeah, so creating shadow is a big part. Again, the game is called Assassin's Creed Shadows, but creating
Yeah.
shadow is a big part of the stealth in this game. And it's crazy that I'm just even talking about this, right? Because like stealth, it's been called Assassin's Creed since the beginning, but it never has really been about the stealth
Nah,
until
there was I mean,
until
even
this
a
game.
lot like, there were boss fights and everything. I've always
Yeah,
hated stealth games with boss fights.
and I'm sure this game has it too, right? But like I'm sure that the boss fights are more reserved for the Yasuke side of things. So,
Yeah,
I
which makes
definitely
sense.
see the vision, right? Like I can see how like being quick and nimble but weak as Naoe, like how that would feel satisfying switching back to Yasuke and just like dominating everyone. How that would feel satisfying. It just hasn't happened yet, which is kind of surprising to me, right? Like the first 20 minutes were Yasuke, everything else so far has been Naoe, and there's like no sign of it slowing down. And like the emotional crux of the story is Naoe, so far at least, right? Like she's the one who becomes an assassin, she's the one with the tragic backstory and everything. Obviously, Yasuke's story is interesting as well. His is based in actual historical fact, right? Like he was an actual black man who was brought over to Japan, who became one of Oda Nobunaga's retainers, became a samurai. Um,
Yeah.
so that's really cool. Um, but Naoe's story is something they made themselves, right? Just like Ezio and all of them. And I would argue they did a pretty good job with her. Like I don't think I've been as into one of the assassins as much as her since probably Ezio or Edward Kenway. So she's
See, this is the
definitely one of the better assassins.
this is the first time you've gotten to play as a real person in an
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed
this
game,
is the
right?
first time
Yeah.
Yasuke was
That's
a real person.
I hadn't really thought of that. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how their stories kind of meet, because right now they're completely separate characters, completely separate kind of storylines. Obviously, they must intersect at some point. Like I haven't even gotten to the point where I can switch freely between the two. But and the other thing I want to bring up, the visuals, the graphics in this game are just unbelievable. They're unbelievable. And obviously Ubisoft, like back in the day, like I'm talking like 360 PS3 era, they were kind of, if I remember right, like I might be misremembering, but they were kind of pushing the visual envelope with some of their Assassin's Creed games. But that has not really been the case for a long time. Like Assassin's Creed Unity came out, it was quite the looker, but the RPGs, they're fine looking, right? They're not going to blow your mind with graphics. Assassin's Creed Shadows is straight up one of the best looking games of all time at this point. Like it's up there with something like Cyberpunk. It's that good. The tech is that good.
Really.
Yeah, it really is. So whatever improvements they've made to their engine, whatever extra time they put into this game was well worth it because it is polished to a fine sheen. Uh Visually incredible, soundscape incredible, gameplay feels incredibly good. Stealth feels amazing in a way that it's never felt in Assassin's Creed. So, Ubisoft
They did it.
actually did it with this game.
That's unbelievable.
I don't know if it's enough to save them, but they did it.
They did it for the first time since like 2014.
This is
That's
a
crazy.
very very good Assassin's Creed game.
Good on
And
'em.
and
Good
and
good
it
for
is
'em.
absolutely going to be one of those games. If you have a high-end PC, it is a showcase game.
It's a showcase game.
It
You're
is a
playing it on
show.
PS5 though?
I'm playing it on PS5 Pro. It's a showcase game there too.
There,
It's
yeah.
straight up is. So they managed to get ray trace global illumination working on console. So
Like the default console, like base console?
I th- I don't know. I think on PS5 it is on quality mode.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
but PS5 Pro, I'm playing in like the 40 FPS mode, and the
Right.
40 FPS feels great in this game. Usually, I'm pretty sensitive to that sort of thing, but 40 FPS feels amazing in this game. They have like this hair strand technology too, where you can see like all the individual hair strands on each character, and that looks amazing as well. And it like reacts naturally, like blows in the wind and stuff. And it's just such a good looking game, man.
Yeah.
Incredible. The ray trace global illumination really adds so much because, and Digital Foundry did a video where they compare like the non ray traced lighting to the global illumination lighting. It's like a different game. It's like
Yeah.
straight up a different game.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm very impressed by this game, and Ubisoft clearly. I just didn't know they had it in them. I'm gonna straight up. I did
would
not
not
know
have
they had it
guessed
in them.
last
But
week, I would not have guessed that this game was
but
gonna be good.
this game is incredibly polished, technically marvelous, uh, captivating story with interesting protagonists and really good gameplay. So
Wild.
yeah,
What a
it's
concept.
yeah, I know they nailed it.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm excited to play more. But unfortunately, I'm so busy this week, I probably won't be able to touch it.
Sad.
Between that and well, I have so many things I need to do. I'm so behind on Monster Hunter. You want to talk about that next?
Yeah, I actually haven't been playing Wilds. I'm pretty much done with Wilds until the new title update, but
Which
we
comes in like a week.
yeah, next Friday. We found out what we're getting in the new title update. I don't imagine you mind me spoiling it, Ahmed.
I watched it, or I
Oh, you watched
recently
it.
Yeah,
watched it. Yeah.
that's not a spoiler.
So what?
It's not really a
Yeah,
spoiler, is it?
kinda. I mean, I
I
was so
mean,
hyped for the trailer. I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know
that
what we were gonna see.
monster, I again, this is like all the Monster Hunter
Mizutsune,
fans were going crazy. No, the other one.
the Gaiacris.
Yeah, that. Like
The
people were
like
stoked
teaser
about
at the
that.
very end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
We haven't
I
seen yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
They couldn't figure out how to get Leviathan skeletons to work for World. Legiacris, I think, was originally going to be in World, and they
Mhm.
couldn't get the skeleton to work. The Leviathan
it's because
skeleton
of
is what
Jin Dod.
Jin Dahad uses, and so they
Yeah.
got it to work. So they're like, yeah, we can bring Legiacris back, and that's
Jin
been
Dahad caused so many game-breaking bugs,
yeah,
apparently, that they had to delay several monsters to fix him.
yeah. It
Oh,
was a
really?
tricky
I
thing to
mean,
get
yeah,
working. Yeah,
he's that big.
yeah, but that's super exciting. I have never fought Legiacris. He's from Monster Hunter Tri, I think, which I have not played, and 3U.
So even
So
older than your fandom, which is
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am like the last possible old head. Or no, second to last. There was Monster Hunter 4U, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, or Monster Hunter Generations, whatever. That's the same game, and then its Ultimate release. And then there was World. So I hopped on just before World came out, and everybody was in. So I'm like just barely an old head. But yeah, we're getting the Gathering Hub or the Grand Hub, I think it's called. That
Yeah.
looks sick. We're finally getting the good, like the better food cutscene, I think, where the cats cook for you, and it's
Oh,
gonna be like a
nice.
feast and everything.
Yeah,
So
I did see that. Yeah.
that solves that for me. There's like stuff to do around the hub. It finally looks like it's gonna be like a nice cozy town sort of place to hang out in between hunts. That's huge for me. I wanted that so bad. You're getting seasonal events there. We're getting Zoshia is going to be huntable
Yeah.
again in high rank.
I
And we're
figured that
getting
had to be
armor.
coming.
It
Like,
had to be.
Yeah, it'd be wild to design all of that for a one-time thing.
The sickest monster in the game, maybe, other than Raidou. And
that armor, that armor,
it's so sick. And the Palico armor, too.
oh, cool.
And the weapons. And that doesn't unlock until Hunter rank 50. So there's a really good chance that Zoshia weapons are going to be better than Ardean weapons, which are the current meta. Or at least comparable.
Mhm.
And
I
Ardean
hate
weapons.
meta. I'm not even gonna play meta. I don't
Yeah,
care.
you shouldn't.
I don't care enough.
The only reason
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
using
gonna enjoy
Ardean
my
weapons
game.
is because that's what the grind is. And I'm obviously like down
Yeah.
for the grind right now. And they're like upgradable, and that's the grind. It's a lot of RNG. You have to make them and then remake them until you get the proper RNG. And I'm just kind of along for the ride on that. But
Yeah.
we're getting new armor. Mizutsune is going to have new armor and weapons. And we're getting a month after this, in I think it was very early May, we're getting Arch-Tempered Ray Dao, which is an even harder version of the Ray Dao fight that has its own set of armor and weapons. And
it looks like it has custom movesets.
Yeah, it almost certainly does. The Arch-Tempered Elder Dragons in World have custom movesets.
Yeah, I was talking to my coworker, and he was saying that we probably wouldn't get an Arch-Tempered before Master Rank.
Oh, there's never been Master Rank Arch-Tempered. No, there was Arch-Tempered Velkhana. No, in World we got Arch-Tempered Elder Dragons with the base game. It was the 3rd title update, I think.
That was way after though. This soon though, getting an Arch-Tempered is nutty.
It's huge. Only getting one, I don't want to sound whiny. I'm a little disappointed we're only getting one, because that means it's going to be like what year, unless Zoshia ends up being really hard.
Yeah.
Arch-Tempered Ray Dao is going to be the fight that everybody's building around.
Are we getting any tempered Zoshias?
We'll probably get tempered Zoshia, yeah. So that'll probably be comparable to Arch-Tempered Ray Dao. That's an excellent point.
Yeah. I guarantee you Zoshia will have a tempered variant. There's no way they're not going to add that.
And tempered Mizutsune is also going to be on the same level as like tempered Arkveld, I think. I think they said that. So that means, essentially this is like a substantial boon to the end game. We're getting a lot of new monsters.
That's good.
And like, that's 3 new monsters in one update. That's huge. And we know Lagiacrus is coming. It's just a lot more content. I'm really happy to see it. The only thing...
And our next title update's in
it's in the summer.
Months.
Yeah, we don't know when, but it's in the summer.
Probably like June.
Yeah, I would say late June is a really good guess.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wish this had that it didn't was I would like some rebalancing of the rewards in the end game right now. And this might have that. We don't know. Oh, we're getting arena quests. Arena quests are like 1 or 2 player quests where you have a fixed loadout. You don't get to choose your armor or weapons. You have to go in with theirs. And it's like a time attack sort of thing. That's fun for the people that like it. I think it's something a lot of people skip over. I historically have, but because I've kind of exhausted the content of this game, I am going to play the arena quests. And I'm excited to do it. Other than that, or do you want to go? I also want to say some stuff about Monster Hunter 4U, but I can say that after.
Yeah, let's intersperse things here. Mike, do you have anything?
No, not really. No, I played Monster Hunter and a little bit of Power World, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go next. So the bulk of the time I was visiting my cousin in New Jersey. We played 2 games, and one of them was Diablo 4. So
did you start a new...
I got sucked back in. Yeah, we started a new character on a new season. Didn't even play the expansion. We just played Diablo 4.
Yeah. Well, do you have to get to the max level to get to the expansion?
I don't know, but we didn't...
I don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
Do you even have
it?
Like,
we were able to play... I got it after the fact, but I haven't really messed with the expansion at all. But we made new characters. It's season 7, the season of witchcraft. Dude, I'm just so... This game gets me. Like, it fires dopamine right into my receptors in a way that very few games do.
Yeah.
And it was pure bliss, man. Playing Diablo 4 for hours and hours and hours. We went from
the same room multiplayer.
We went from
really
1
fun.
to max level over the course of this trip, and started on the end game, because like the game really doesn't even start till the end game, which is such a weird, unintuitive thing to say, but it's true for Diablo.
Yeah.
But I was a barbarian, like the warrior class, which I had never made one of those before, and he picked his rogue, which he always picks a rogue in every game, so that's his thing. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. It is very much the loot grind game that gets me, right? Like in a similar way to MapleStory, where it's just like the whole point is to just get better gear, to make your numbers go up, to kill things better, to get more gear, to
it's the same loop that Monster Hunter has for me.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know, there is something about like the numbers actually appearing on screen, like MapleStory and Diablo do, that really gets me going.
Yeah. Do you have that turned off in Monster Hunter?
There are numbers in Monster Hunter?
Yes.
No way. All right.
Yeah, the monsters show up when you hit or the numbers show up when you hit the monster.
Maybe I'm just I'm either misremembering or I have it turned off, because I don't remember that.
You might have it turned off. If you have it turned off, you can tell how much damage you did by how big the blood splatter is. But
I just sort of look at how like damage the monster is, just to sort
No,
of
there's for
gauge.
sure you can have damage numbers.
Oh, that's
That's so
huge for
funny.
me. That's huge for me. But yeah, so but like Diablo, right? Like I don't know, like people really like to crap on Diablo 4. I really just don't get it. I think it's an extremely polished, fun to play game.
Yeah, I had no
Um,
problems with it. I thought it was fun.
and like think I've made a character on every class now, and every single class feels so different, but is incredibly fun to play in their own way. And even the barbarian, right? So this is the last character I made because I really wasn't interested in making it. So I made it because like it was the last one left, and he's a ton of fun to play, and he has so many different build varieties and stuff. So many different ways to play this guy, and it's just I don't know. It stands out to me. Like the design in this game is outstanding. Like the way you can take each class and sort of customize it, build it the way you want to. No other games really do it that way. So it is an incredible action RPG. And I hear Path of Exile, right? That's the other one that's kind of competitive with Diablo. I hear
I was trying to remember
it's
it.
really,
Yeah.
really good. And one day maybe I'll check it out. But for now, I'm like completely satisfied by Diablo. So
Is it on console?
I think
Path of
it's on
Exile?
everything.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did play on PC mostly, right? So he was on his PS5 and I was on my
Okay.
laptop.
Did
And
you buy the game on PC? I thought you bought it on PlayStation.
I had it on both.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
$140 down the toilet right there.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think
not. You
so.
liked it, but
Yeah.
yeah, not down the drain. But
But
that's
But yeah, like this game scales really well too, right? Like you don't need a super high-end machine to play this game at all. If you do, it looks quite
it
pretty.
looks great. It looks
But
very good on max settings. But absolutely, it's a game I
yeah,
would play on potato settings if like I wanted to. If
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
So
something I wanted to play.
we had a great time. We blasted through levels 1 through 60. We did
How
a
long
lot
does
of
that take? Like
it took several
hour?
hours. Yeah, it took
Okay.
several hours. It took
Like
a couple
8 hours?
a
Like
couple days, yeah. I
okay.
don't know. That maybe actually. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. We played a lot of Diablo. But
Yeah. Sorry for
yeah.
exposing you.
Yeah. So we did a bunch of hell tides, we did a bunch of dungeons. We just sort of did that over and over again until we leveled up to end game levels, and then we started doing like the torment difficulty, which is where you want to be for the end game. And yeah, man, the grind for ancestral weapons, mythic weapons, end game stuff. It's just it vibes with me, man. It vibes with me in a way that is detrimental to my health. So yeah, a lot of Diablo 4 got played this weekend. All right, Connor, back to you.
So I've been playing Monster Hunter for you again, kind of while I'm waiting for people to like. If nobody is asking me to play Wilds multiplayer, and I feel like playing Monster Hunter, I'm playing for you because I want to get through high rank in it. And I'm having fun, but I'm kind of playing it now through the lens of everybody saying Wilds was too easy and trying to like digest that and see what that really means. Stop that. Claw on my couch. Where was I? Okay, thinking about difficulty. And I think where I've landed is that if you use every mechanic available to you, you're drinking your mega demon drug and you're taking your mega armor skin and you're taking your armor charm and your I forget what the damage one is called, but there's 2 charms that increase your damage and defense. If you're doing all of that, eating for the proper buffs, doing everything you should, making sure you take enough potions and everything, I don't think that world the only real difference in difficulty is that the Palico heals you too much in
In
Wilds,
Wilds. Mhm.
way too much in Wilds. And if you cart in for you, you lose your food buffs and you lose your like any buffs that you have, you lose. And that actually sucks. That sucks so bad. That's like bad difficulty because that means that if you cart once,
You have to
you're
do it all again.
well, you're probably gonna you can't eat again because you would have to go back to town. You can't go back to town in for you.
Oh, but you can in Wilds, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you don't have to in Wilds. In Wilds, your food
Yeah, it stays. But
remains.
you can
So
still go back to town and then go back to the hunt.
you can, yeah. But in for you can't. You would have to forfeit the hunt. You would have to start completely over. And so if you cart in 4U once, like essentially right now, if I cart once, I have failed the hunt. I am not going to be strong enough anymore without those buffs. I'm not going to be strong enough to win. So it's just kind of annoying. It's not like a grace period. It's just prolonging my defeat. And I
Yeah.
think that's the main thing. I think that's an outright fix in Wild. So I kind of have a hard time with people complaining about the difficulty. I mean, 4U is a little harder. And it's also like way, way harder to utilize all those mechanics because items are harder to get. They take longer. And getting your equipment, it just takes way longer. Like you guys have
Yeah.
grinded some armor sets out. There's a monster called Monoblos, and I wanted his armor set. And in order to do it, every single piece of the armor requires a Monoblos horn. Some of the pieces require 2 Monoblos horns. So that's minimum 6 horns you had to get. And you can only get 1 horn per hunt. So I was going to have to kill this very difficult monster, minimum, assuming I get good RNG, 6 times.
Yeah.
You hunt a monster 3 times in Wilds, and you have more than enough for all of its equipment and a weapon. And that's I don't know. I don't think that's a downgrade either.
I
So
think
was
I think those are improvements.
yeah.
Honestly.
I see why you could miss the grind, especially because I do think the combat does feel better in Wilds. Like that's not a hot take. The combat feels amazing in Wilds. It's not that much better, but it is better. So I don't know. I was just kind of chewing on that a little bit. Obviously, my take will change as these harder hunts come to Wilds. But overall, I think I think the difficulty discussion is a little overblown. I also just don't think Monster Hunter's fun necessarily requires like a super intense difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm just enjoying my 4U run, having a good old time. I'm like caught up to where I was 10 years ago. It took me 90 hours last time, and I think it took me 30 hours this
Wow.
time. I'm a much more proficient hunter, but I'm hunting what's called an Azure Rathalos, which is what it sounds like. It's a blue Rathalos that has stronger moves. And I'm at a wall right now. I couldn't beat it as a kid, and I
Oh,
can't beat it
nice.
now. I'm having to upgrade my gear, and
You'll
that
figure it
was
out though.
yeah. The real wall was the amount of grinding I realized I had to do back then to upgrade my gear, and I'm a little more willing to do that now than I was back then.
Yeah.
That and there's no multiplayer in this game.
Oh,
I like to
really?
there was, but like there's nobody online anymore
Oh,
because
right. Because
it's a
it's old.
10-year-old game.
Yeah.
It has servers up. It has fan servers that I connected to, and there are some people up, but the odds of me finding a group of people to do the grinding with is very slim. And also old Monster Hunter, the story is totally separate from the multiplayer. So you can't do it's called the village quest. You cannot invite people to those hunts if you're struggling with them.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, and this is actually just an outright like miss in my opinion, I am well into high rank in the village quests, but you have to actually play through low rank hub quests. You have to do the low rank multiplayer content to get to it. So like I'd like to be going to multiplayer to grind out the gear that I want right now, but I can't because I would have to play all of these like weaker monsters. I would have to, and I don't know which ones I have to do to progress because they don't tell you
Mm-hmm.
which quests are necessary to progress in this game. So there's a huge wall between me and being able to even fight the monsters that I want to get parts from in multiplayer. Because if I was in multiplayer, it would just be really fun. I don't think I would even mind the grind. It
Yeah.
would just be fun. But that's not the world we live in. And if I could find a group of people to play through those early game hunts with, I could probably get through it in like an hour. But nobody's playing the early game content. They're all pretty late into the game. The handful of people that are still playing this ancient relic of a game. So that's kind of the tricky part.
Well, it's cool to get that perspective, like fresh off of Wilds, to compare it to an older entry.
Yeah, it is. And it also like I came back from 4U and picked up Wilds, and I was like, all right, I've been in the meat grinder now. I'm gonna open up Wilds and I'm gonna rock these monsters. And I immediately carted to a Gormagala, like instantly. And I was like, oh my god, because it's different. Like the style is so different. Wilds is so much faster than the old games, and I wasn't ready for that. So
Mhm.
that is kind of tinting my impression of the difficulty of both of them as well. Is that there is switching between them's a little hard.
That's interesting. All right, so my final game. So the other game we played, other than Diablo, over this multi-day video game bender, was Elden Ring. So
a revisit to
my
Elden Ring.
my cousin has never played a From Software game.
Wow.
So this was completely new to him, right? He had no idea what a From Software game even was, right?
Yeah.
So he was the one who brought it up to play Elden Ring. Like I never said anything. I was just like, I'm down for whatever. But what we decided on were Diablo 4 and Elden Ring. And he fell in love with Elden Ring. But he wanted us to both play it at the same time, right? So this was my first time really kind of finagling Elden Ring's co-op, which is a definite improvement over previous From Software games, but still isn't great because you really just can't play the whole game co-op, right? Because like if and he was feeling some frustration with this too, and understandably so. As your first From Software game, you're gonna ask like, why is it done this way? And the answer is just because it is,
Yeah.
right? But like, I would join
Japanese game design.
him. I would join him. I don't know if you know this in Elden Ring, but to join your friend has to basically consume an item, a furl calling finger remedy. You have to, and they're easy to craft, but you do use one each time you summon someone to your world.
Did you never summon somebody when you played through the game?
No.
Really?
Yeah. So
I knew that. I never did it for boss fights, but I think I did summon people just out of curiosity.
But so you do have to use this item, right? And when you join someone in their world, it opens you up to being invaded by other people. So we would constantly get invaded by like people
Very
playing the game.
strong,
But here's the
yeah.
thing, right? Like they're all within your level range, but everyone playing Elden Ring in 2025 on new characters has probably put thousands of hours into it.
Yeah, they have a build in mind
Yeah,
for
so
that level range.
oh yeah. So everyone we invaded already had like all these spells and buffs and stuff, and they would just completely demolish us. And that was really frustrating him, right? Like, cause like,
yeah.
you know, we played together for a little bit. We'd eventually get invaded and like massacred.
Yeah.
But I tried to like tell him like that's just part of the experience. If you want to do
don't get far enough in
multiplayer.
the game, you can't even like invite the people to rescue you yet, right? Do you have to unlock that later, or is that
Rescue.
default?
I don't even remember what that is.
So you get invaded, right? If you're playing multiplayer,
Oh yeah, you can summon like
you can
blue
get
phantoms.
invaded. But like, I don't think you have to do anything. It's automatic once you have it unlocked. But because I get summoned as a blue phantom anytime I boot that game up. And I'm a pretty
Okay.
good blue phantom, I think. I win more often than I lose, but I'm also like high level, so the people, it's a different crowd. It's not
Yeah.
people preying on newbies.
But like, I mean, so that element is frustrating, but it certainly didn't hamper our enjoyment. And I was mostly just letting him drive, right? So I would just join him. I would let him explore and follow him and help him. And it's just such a joy watching someone discover and fall in love with this world for the first time. So I was there when he went down Safria Riverwell, and he was just he literally was just like, dude, what the F is happening? And I was just like, I don't know. And like, you know, because that elevator takes forever.
It's a long elevator.
And then you realize like it starts sinking in the more you're on it, like what is about to happen to me? Like this is a moment. And then he discovered that like, oh, there's an entire map underneath the already gargantuan map of this game. Yeah, so
What
just
a
stuff like
game.
that, right? So he did wander into Caelid. And
everybody
the first
does.
dragon he encountered was a rot dragon in Caelid. So the first one he encountered wasn't the one right in the starting area, right? In the burnt ruins. But he went into Caelid and encountered a dragon that spewed toxic fumes at him and killed like Scarlet Rot at him.
Probably did not go good for him.
That was his first introduction to Scarlet Rot. And it's just like little things like that, like just discovering the enormity and the horror that awaits you in Elden Ring. It's just such a beautiful thing to see.
So Elden Ring was like an exclusively solitary experience for you, wasn't it, Ahmed? You pretty much played through it all. Yeah,
I did join my friend Josh a couple times when he got it, but other than that, it was completely solitary.
I didn't summon for my playthrough, but I did. I was on a call like the first night that it came out. I was on Discord with my buddy Tyler, and we were just like trading notes on what we were finding out in the world, and that was a pretty special experience for me too.
Yeah,
just
and this is absolutely one of those games where that you need to do that because you will miss most of it. I would argue if you just play it by yourself.
I don't know. I think you could
not most of it, but you would miss a sizable chunk of it.
Yeah, the game's pretty good mechanically later on about giving you the tools you need to find all the hidden dungeons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're that guy, but I probably missed a lot. I'm not that guy.
But so he did. One interesting thing happened. One really interesting thing. So we got invaded. We were kind of exploring the area down south, kind of the optional area down south, where you go and fight like the Red Beast of Radagon.
Mhm.
And we got invaded by this guy, right? So he comes at us, and then we just like, obviously we've been attacked so many times, we just go at him, right? Like,
Mhm.
and he's dodging us, like parrying us and stuff, but he never hits us, not once. And then it took a while for me to
Skill
be like,
issue.
wait a minute, and then I stopped attacking him, right? And
Mhm.
he was like putting down this spell on the ground. I was just like, I don't know what this is. But like I stopped attacking him and we were just like staring at each other, and he does the spell again. And I walk into it and it heals me. So it's a spell that he could heal me as an opponent. And then I was like, wait a minute, you're friendly. And so this guy, like, he thought we were total noobs, and we basically are, right? He is.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I'm not showing him
You
anything.
you couldn't hit this guy.
Oh yeah, I couldn't. Oh yeah, I'm rusty. But um he took us through the entire southern area and showed us like all the items. He was showing us like where to go, who to talk. He was like just a really friendly invader. And I was just like, "Oh, I didn't know this sort of thing could happen in this game." But
You're
there
for
you
sure
go.
in some guy's YouTube video. Like,
Yeah,
that's gotta be,
maybe.
like, friendly invasion, Elden Ring. Like,
But yeah, so he was guiding the two of us around. And it was just really cool to see that it was a new interaction. I've never had that happen before in Elden Ring, where someone invades and then tries to help new players out.
yeah. Well, you
Um,
probably didn't get invaded much. You probably didn't engage with the multiplayer much at all.
no, I didn't. Yeah, but
Because I think there are other buffs for those fingers too. I think you get, like, a little extra health, and, like,
yeah,
there's other reasons to be invadable than just multiplayer, but I don't remember what they are.
yeah. I feel like I must have gotten invaded a few times, but I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that was a unique experience. But to summarize, right, like so. Eventually, he's made his way through Stormvale Castle, and he was just, like obviously blown away by Stormvale, like as everyone is when they first go through it, because like,
Yeah.
okay, it's not just an open world game that actually has like these really intricate levels as well.
Nintendo take
Um,
notes.
and yeah, and I will say, so he did beat Margit by himself, which is huge, right? Like, because
Yeah.
I really still argue Margit is the filter for this game.
Yeah, if you can beat Margit,
Yeah,
you can beat the
you can
game.
beat the
I
game.
100% agree.
Yes. So, and he was like, it took him many tries, right? But like, and he was getting frustrated. I was like, dude, like, I'm telling you, like, this is, if you can beat this guy, nothing is out of the realm of possibility in terms of you beating this game.
Yeah.
And he tried and tried again, and he beat him, and that was the first Elden Ring boss he's beaten. And then it clicked, right? Then he was just like, yeah, that rush I felt beating this boss,
Yeah.
there's nothing like it. I was just like, you understand now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so then we joined up. We went through Stormvale, and now we're at Godric. Oh, no, what's his name? The Grafted
Godfrey?
Godfrey, maybe. Yeah, the guy with the dragon arm,
Yeah.
and who is the boss of Stormvale. And we got very close to beating him. Didn't quite get there, and now I'm too busy to play with him. So hopefully he can manage on his own. But yeah, that was a unique kind of thing, right? Like showing someone Elden Ring. Well, not showing, he wanted to play it, but like being there while someone experiences Elden Ring for the first time. And not just Elden Ring, their first From Software game. And really kind of seeing someone understand and fall in love with this kind of game. It was very
Yeah.
rewarding. So that's it. That's it for me. Are
Very
we
cool.
good? Nothing else to talk about?
I
Yeah, I
played
got it.
33 Immortals, and I like it, but I wanna play it more, I think, before I talk about it much on the show.
All right. So, some quick housekeeping. Our next episode will not release Wednesday. We will release it the following Monday, I believe. Um, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, I will be gone next week, on a trip, and the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is on that Wednesday, and we typically release on Wednesdays, so it's really kind of clashing with our schedule. So we figured we're just going to wait for this Direct. We're going to react to it, and then we're going to post the episode Monday, and then go from there. So if you don't see the following episode drop on a Wednesday, just know that it's coming. Our Nintendo Switch 2 hot takes are coming. You just have to wait a little bit longer. But I am very sad that I'm going to be missing this episode. This is probably I think this is going to be one of the biggest episodes we'll do for the entire show.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not hyping it up too much, but I don't think I am. I hope Nintendo knows they really have to show up for this thing.
I
But
hope me and Mike know we really have to show up for this thing.
But yeah, I think I will try to record like a little reaction on my own, or just my own thoughts, unfiltered thoughts, and just maybe splice that into the podcast somewhere. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, looking forward to finally, after years of waiting, years of talking about pure nonsense, you have this thing finally shown to us with the games. So, all right, look forward to that. Thank you all for listening.
Doing a lot of work. It might only be Mario Kart.
It might only be Mario Kart, and then like I don't know, sports, TV, Xbox.
Snipper clips too.
I actually think we'll see a lot of Xbox games on this thing too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Blue Sky. Click the link in the description to join our Discord and talk to us there. And please like and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or any other podcast services you use. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
See you next week. Bye.